You're listening to Good Morning with Ashley, where we will journey through finding the good in life's transitions.
Hey friends, happy Thursday, guys. Thank you for joining me for the final episode of season 4 of the Good Morning podcast. Listen, guys, it has been such an amazing, and I mean amazing season. We have had some great conversation. We have had some great guests, and it has just been overall, probably, I have to say, my favorite season of the podcast. And I just want to thank you all for rocking with me the entire time. Listen, for one last time, go ahead and like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on any of our streaming outlets, go ahead and download that episode and share it with somebody too, because this is going to be a good one. And of course, you can visit our website at ashleypopeonline.com to see all of our content regarding the Good Morning podcast. And of course, subscribe so that you can get all of the notifications regarding what's happening with Good Morning. Now that we've got that out the way, y'all, today's episode that we are doing today is called There Is Room for You. Okay? So I know you're like, what does that mean, Ash? Or maybe not. Maybe you know where I'm going with this, but I just want to talk about a journey of believing that there's room for you, that there's room for you to occupy space wherever it is that you desire. So we all have dreams. We all have aspirations. We all have things that we desire to do in our lives. And a lot of times we second guess the things that we've heard God tell us to do, the things that we have felt in our own intuition that we've desired to do as well. We've kind of lacked in moving on those things because we feel as if maybe we heard God wrong, maybe we heard ourselves wrong, maybe our dreams aren't exactly what we desire 100%. But listen, I am here to tell you, if you are looking for confirmation to get started, this is the episode for you, okay? If you are looking again for confirmation to go ahead and get started, this is your confirmation. This is the gunshot for your race, okay? It's time for you to go. Okay, it's time for you to go and get it. The first thing I want to address with this is, where is your focus, guys? If you have a strong desire to do something as it relates to, I don't know, a podcast. Hello, this is what I'm doing. Or if you have a desire to, I don't know, build your own brand or start your own shoe line or whatever it is, where is your focus? There are a lot of times that we say we want to do things, but we are not focused on them. And we think that us getting started is just going to drop out the sky. And it does not work like that. We have to start doing things immediately when we know that this is the go-ahead, where God has given you the desire, the dream. He has shown you what it is that he's desiring for you to do. This is the go-ahead for you, okay? The first thing I feel like you need to do is plan. And planning has several different meanings, but I'm going to go today with initiate the decision for where you're going. Okay, you have to initiate the decision for where you're going. So when you're planning, when I'm planning, I'm already looking at the end. Okay, I'm already looking at where I desire to go, what I want the outcome to be, because I got to figure out how am I going to get there first. So as I'm talking about this, of course, I'm going to use my podcast journey because I know quite a few people who are starting them, or people who have a desire and they don't know where to start. If that's you, this is the episode for you, because I'm giving you a couple of nuggets. So when I got ready to get started with my podcast journey, I knew what the Lord had told me, of course. I've explained this story to you all several times, that the Lord had gave me this idea. I actually tweeted about it, and I initially thought that it was going to be a book, and it might be. We don't know. Maybe later on. But Good Morning was actually supposed to start out as a book. It was going to be Good Morning, subtitle, Finding the Good in Life's Transitions. And when I said it out loud, God said, now run with it. And I said, run where? Because I didn't know where he was telling me to go. But the Lord showed me in a dream that my influence is in my voice. It's in my mouth. And it was time for me to start talking. It was time for me to start speaking. So I knew that, okay, the only way I can do this is probably preach. And that was nope, not doing it. or to go ahead and start this podcast. And so this is my pulpit. I say it all the time. This podcast is my pulpit, okay? This is where I share Jesus and information. This is what he gave me. And so I have a responsibility. And so I knew that as I was getting ready to get started, that I needed to start planning. Where did I see this going? I wanted this to reach the nations. I wanted this to be in several different countries. I wanted people of all ethnicities and backgrounds to listen. So I had to start establishing a plan, okay? And when you establishing a plan, you have to prepare. That's your second thing. Prepare. How are you going to get there? How are you going to make these strides, right? So just so happened, and I'm going to shout him out today, and I was going to shout him out at the end, but shout out to my producer, Don Waller, and I'm going to get to my other producer towards the end. But Don Waller, it's so funny how our relationship started. We were on Clubhouse. Y'all remember when it was real hot. It was popping. And we were in the same room, okay? And this room that we were in, there were people going around saying, well, this is what I do. This is what I do for a living and all of that different stuff. And at the time, I was trying to record my podcast by myself. All I had was a MacBook and a Yeti mic, and I was like, I'm going to make it happen. It's just going to be me, and I'm going to do it. And I started getting so frustrated, and I asked God to put me in the pathway of somebody who could help me. And so Don was next on the stage, and Don said, my name is Don Waller, and I have a business called Establish Your Sound. It's a mobile podcast and business, and I'm here to service people in the Metro Detroit area. Bingo. Okay, so this is the thing. When you're obedient and you've already decided and made a conscious decision that you're going to run with what God has told you, he is going to make it happen. He's going to put things and people in your pathway. And so this was Don being in my pathway as it relates to this podcast. I ended up establishing a good relationship with Don and his wife. And I ended up reaching out to him, and I said, Don, I really need some help. I need help. And he was like, say less, sis, I'm coming. So it was just the fact that, first of all, I had a plan. And then I started to prepare. And so even though my preparation wasn't what I wanted it to be, because I was prepared to do this on my own. And sometimes, listen, if you're one of those people like me who feel like you don't want the help, that's what's holding you up. Okay, I knew I needed the help. So I was more than willing to let Don do what he does. And when I say from the beginning of this relationship, Don has been such an asset to this podcast. So you need to, in your preparation, get people in your corner who are going to be an asset to what you're doing. Not people that's just going to stand around and watch and gripe and complain about you busy and we don't never hang out no more because you always doing this. No, you need people that's going to support, people who are going to be assets and not liabilities to what it is that you know you're called to do in this season. The last thing you need to do is execute. Execute means to carry out fully. Okay, you need to carry this thing out fully. My first episode, I was so nervous. I knew it was going to be 3 people that listened, and one of them was going to be my mama. I knew it. Okay, I knew what it was going to say. I knew exactly what it was going to be. But to my surprise, my first episode, I think got like 600-700 downloads. And I was mind blown because this happened probably like within a 2-week span, and I was releasing episodes every week. And I said, okay, God, like, is this real? Like, is this really happening right now? This can't be happening. This is crazy to me because I felt like so much was unraveling. But that's what happens when you are obedient. That's what happens when you take initiative, because we always want to say, well, God gonna do it, God gonna do it, and he will. But faith without works is dead. So you can't have the faith that he's gonna do it and then you just sit there and be still. He is gonna require something of you to make this thing happen. So it's time to stop sitting on yourself, stop sleeping on yourself, and start working towards the things that you desire to do. Now, one of the things that I want to really press upon you is that when you get started with whatever it is that you feel that you're called to do in this season, that you establish a plan and who you are going to talk about this with. Now, we got some great friends, we got some great family members, but everybody cannot be privy to the conversation of this is what's happening next in my life. And one of my favorite scriptures in regards to that, I like Proverbs 17 verse 28, and it says, even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. So you need to be quiet. I know you want to tell people. I know you want to say, my lash line about to be popping. My shoe line about to pop. My podcast business is going from here to there. But sometimes you have to be quiet while God is working. Because sometimes if people get the information just enough, they're going to start draining you. Or they're going to start taking the ideas that you even said to them in confidence, thinking that you have this safe space and this safe haven. And granted, it's not everybody, but my point is to be in full discernment on who you can share your ideas with and where you're going next as it relates to what you are called to do. I want to tell you too, stop worrying about oversaturated markets. Okay. Now, granted, there are things happening everywhere. It's only so much you can do that other people are not doing. But you don't see McDonald's worrying about Burger King, and Burger King worrying about Wendy's, and Wendy's worrying about Five Guys. They all sell burgers. All of them. They all have burgers. They all got fries. They all have milkshakes. And you don't see them saying, you know what, we're not going to sell no more burgers because McDonald's selling burgers. So I'm not going to sell any more burgers because Wendy's selling burgers. No, they are constantly doing what? Trying to perfect their product so that it makes them attractive, so that it sets them apart from the other competitors and things like that. Do not overthink, oversaturation. I love this example. I was thinking about it today, and I know it was God, because I've never thought about it this way, but when Jesus died on the cross, he did not say, I can only take so many sinners. I can't take all the sinners. It's oversaturated. Sin is oversaturated. I can't take everybody. He took all of us. Literally, he took us all. And he never thought about the fact that, sin is something that is going to be overwhelming. It's something that's going to consistently happen. It's going to be something that is going to happen for billions of people. It didn't stop him from dying on the cross. So don't think that oversaturation is going to stop you from being as successful as you are supposed to be during this time. And so now that I have moved past just, recording where you guys can only hear me, so the audio version of the podcast, I've moved to visual because, again, this was a part of the plan the whole time. And sometimes people come out the gate with visual and audio. That was not the plan for me. I knew I needed to work my way there. Okay. And so as I worked my way there, I established a relationship with somebody who I've known for such a long time. I call her Peaches, so of Nice Media. Her and her husband, Brandon, have been such an asset to this podcast because, again, this is all about keeping people in your path. You never know. This wasn't something that Peaches was doing. I think she's just started doing it, maybe a year and a half ago, that she started doing, having a Nice Media. And when she got started, she reached out to me like, hey, Ash, if you ever need something, let me know, this. And I ain't say, well, I ain't going to need her because I got a producer, all this stuff. You never know how you're going to need people. But I always kept Peaches in my right hand. I said, okay, when I get ready to, move forward and moving forward in this podcast and doing something different and establishing new things, I'm going to give her a call. And immediately when I did, it was a no. It was just like no hesitation. Yes, do you want to come today? Do you want to come today? How can I help you today? And so it's all about, again, a plan, preparing, executing, and making sure that you are obedient to what God is calling you to do. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. All of this happens predicated on your obedience to what it is that he's calling you to do. So if you know that you are sitting on gifts, sitting on talents, sitting on ideas, strategies, witty inventions, whatever it is that he gave you, if you are sitting on it, this is your wake-up call today. Get started. I know you like, Ashley, the Lord gave me a podcast, but you got a podcast. Don't care. Go for it. okay? Because this is something that you are called to do. And just because I'm called to do it too doesn't mean that you're not. It doesn't mean that you are not. It doesn't mean that God won't put his hand on your idea. It's all about being obedient, making sure that you're discerning all the things that he's desiring of you as well, and making sure that you're praying and asking God the whole way through. Every time I had a guest on this show, I prayed about the guest. It wasn't just let me pick somebody. I just need somebody. I literally prayed about who to have talk about different subjects with me, because I realize that I'm responsible for what you hear. And so I can't just choose anybody. I have to make sure that they're credible. I have to make sure that their witness is good. Okay. I don't want y'all coming back and saying, oh, you had such and such on your podcast and they this, that, and the other. And not to say that everybody doesn't have a past or things wrong with them or things that they've grown from, but I just think that it is important to, again, pray your way through your journey. Okay. Prayer through the journey makes it easier. I promise you it does. It makes it easier. When you try to do things on your own, when you lean to your own understanding, it's not going to work out how you think. But if you lean on to God, you lean to Jesus, you pray, you ask God for direction and what to do, I promise you that he will direct your path. I promise you that. All right. So I just want to thank you all again for listening to me this season. This has been such an amazing season. I have enjoyed every bit of it. Again, I want to thank my producers, Don Waller of Establish Your Sound, Peaches and Brandon Johnson of Nice Media. I want to thank all the guests that I've had this season. My mom, of course, Pastor Miranda Faye Pope, Carrie Moore, my friend Brianna Wheeler. I want to thank Jay Will for coming. I also want to thank Dwayne Logwood, Amber Womack, and Leon McDonald for also being a part of the podcast. And last but not least, Dr. Crystal Eason, who blessed us as well with our mental health journey. Listen, season 5 is coming. So don't even worry. We're going to take a little break, but I promise, every round literally goes higher and higher, and we are coming heat. I ain't even going to tell y'all how we go. I have some things I spoke out of my mouth today about this podcast, and I cannot wait to say, y'all, remember when I said I said some things out of my mouth? This is one of the things I said. Again, plan, prepare, execute, and watch God do it. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this journey, and join me later on as we continue to find the good in life's transitions.